Hey y'all, welcome to the filling station. I am super excited. So in today's video, we are working on some flashcard little containers, or not really containers, like flip charts or just binders or whatever you want to call them to keep the cards together. I'm actually making these for my grandsons. We are actually getting ready to take a road trip, and I wanted to make sure that they had something to kind of like keep them occupied. And I know that flashcards are always easy, and they just get so excited, y'all, and I get excited with them. So today we're going to piece this together using our We Are Memory Keeper cinch machine and some just simple things, right? I got these from the Dollar Tree, and as you can see, they were only $1.25. Y'all know I always say we balling on a budget, right? So right now for this project, we will basically need our wire binder for the cinch. It is 5/8, and we will also need some double-sided tape. Very handy. If you don't have that, don't worry about it. Get some, Mod Podge glue, whatever it is that you have that could, work as a glue, let's say that. Then we'll need an X-Acto knife or some really good scissors. I always like to use this little handy dandy squeegee type thing because it's very helpful. And you will need 2 pieces of chipboard, and I think they are 6. I wrote them down somewhere. 6 by something, and it's really the size of your card. What I normally do is take the card and I put the card up next to the chipboard and I measure it off as to where I want it to go. So that's basically your preference and what works best for you, because I thought about adding, a place for them to have a pen. So you can really customize these the way that you would like it, but you will need chipboard, let's say that, right? So we will also need an inside that serves as the inside for the, once we put it together, you'll see that goes like that. And for this creative project, y'all, we are using wallpaper wallpaper. I got this from Amazon, wood grain. I kind of like that. I did these in a black, which had the kind of like wood, almost like the wood look. Yeah, there we go. Almost had that wood look. And then I had one that was kind of like in a different type pattern, which I really like. Not really sure what it's called, but it wasn't kind of like the wood grain look. So I wanted to be creative and be different. And at the end, we could always go back and add some names and be more creative with it. But again, these are for my grandsons. Now, again, this is the one that I created for them before. So wanted to try something different. So okay, let's get started. So again, I've already cut my wallpaper, and I am now needing to work with our pieces, our front piece and our back piece. We've already got that together, right? So I'm gonna peel this, and y'all, I have the most trouble getting this. I have the absolute most trouble separating this paper from the back side. It's self-adhesive wallpaper, and it has the sticky stuff for us, so we don't have to add anything to that portion of it, right? So we're gonna put this down and get it as close to the center as we possibly can, right? And we want it straight as we possibly can, right? Now keep in mind, if you're using, fabric or anything that has a design on it, you want to make sure that it's going in the right direction, that when you cut it, it was in the right direction. I needed to say that, right? So we have that down, right? So now what I left was my good handy dandy scissors. I'm going to use another pair, which I normally don't use. Okay, so what I like to do at this point is I like to trim at an angle, kind of like this. And for that reason, you're going to see when we fold them down, it kind of helps. And I don't know what that is on my scissors. It kind of helps kind of get us to that place to where, yeah. So we're kind of cutting it kind of like at an angle. Yes. So we're going to do that on all 4 sides. Getting as close. And even if you get close, you want to kind of leave a little space right there, but you don't want to cut into where it's going to cover up your board, because if you do, you're going to have a spot right there that you're going to have to go back and fix. Okay, so now we have all 4 of our sides pieced together, cut. Now I'm going to fold them in, and me being the overthinker that I am, I like to start in the middle and work my way out, but I like to start on, if I do this side, I want to do this side instead of jumping, but it's whatever works best for you. See how I start in the middle, press down, work my way out, and it's just like folding it over, just like so. And we're going to do that all the way around, just like this. And try to get those edges, like with this wallpaper, one thing I have noticed is sometimes you have to get a little bit more firm on the ends of those. And we're back in the middle, back at the end, There we are. So this is one panel for the outside or inside, which is just that quick, very, very easy, right? So we now have to move to our next one, which is, again, we're working on the outside panels, working on some flash card covers. And kids will like this. I know my grandsons get so excited when they see it. Again, we're just laying it down. It's already sticky for us. Try to get it as straight as we possibly can. Keep in mind, we are crafting, y'all. And if you need to lay it, use your little squeegee thing, you very well can. Make sure that everything is solid and there's no air bubbles or anything like that. I did need to say that, right? Depending on what type of paper you're using or whatever it is that you're using. So again, we're gonna cut kind of like at that angle, you know, making sure that we have that curve, and it kind of helps with our paper, you know, just folding it over. So again, we are trying to get the sides off, the angles cut, so that we can fold these down, y'all. And it really don't take a long time to make these. Now that one is kind of close, yeah. I thought about that one too. But it's okay, we can fix that. Let me say that, right? So there we are. We have all 4 of our pieces cut on the sides. I'm gonna start with this side here, working my way from the center out, folding, and you know, I just seal it like we're kind of like wrapping something, right? Because that's basically what we're doing. We're wrapping it around it. So got my 2 sides down. Now back in the center, working my way down. There we are. Yes. Okay, now this is the one that I was a little concerned about because I did kind of close, but it worked out, y'all. Look at that. Thank you. Okay, so we now have that down. So now we have both of our pieces. We have a front piece and a back piece. There we are right there, front and back. Now, so what we need to do now, so I don't want this to be covered, you know, to be visible. I kind of cut out some board, and as you can see, there is a pencil mark here. So I definitely need to put my double-sided tape on that side because I don't want that visible, so that I can get these measured the way that I need them. I use the pencil to measure that off, or yeah, to measure it off. So this is my double-sided tape here. I'm gonna cover that up. Or did I mess that up? Okay. There we are. Yes, this right here is so helpful, y'all. Double-sided tape. It is so helpful. Let me see. Yep. And we're just gonna go. I normally put like 4 strips, but listen, it depends on your size, what you're using, and how much you know. And I think this is about to run out, so normally it's not like this, but it's working. There we are. So it is full. As you could probably see that that's not, it's on, but it's not on like the other one. Let me show you this one. Okay, so we can see the double-sided tape, right? So now I'm gonna try to center this the best as I can. I definitely need to cover up that center section, right? So I want to center it and get it as close as I can to the center, and y'all see we have that taped on. I like this, so that's our outside, that is our inside, right? So we're going to do this one the exact same way, outside, inside, and we're going to make sure that it is centered as best as we can, right? So we are really, look, y'all, it doesn't take long at all to make these. I have fun. I always say have fun at what you do. So we have a front side and a back side. We have those done, right? Yay. Okay. So now what we could do is our cards, and I think I've already put holes in these cards already, but let me show you one thing about the cinch and doing your cards like this. Whatever, if you're doing, say for instance, numbers, you want them to remain in sequence. I need to say that because that is very important, because if you get them out, it's going to be really, really hard, really hard. So this is the cinch machine, right? So one of the things that I had to learn, even with my cards, is I would put it under here and I would measure. You know, right now I know I'm going to have 5 holes based on, I've already tried to, you know, do a practice. And I did my practice on one of the cards that came inside the, you know, inside the box. So it kind of gave me an idea as to where I wanted everything to be. So what I would do is slide it under here, and I would try to get, you know, even space on this side and even space on this side. If I would have pulled out this peg 6 here, you know, pushed it in, if I'd have pushed that in, then I would have had a hole off the page, so I didn't need that. So I suggest you just play around with it just a little bit, even with your outside pieces, right? Because I needed the outside piece to line up with the inside piece like this, so that it could be a really, really smooth, you know, everything was even. So in order to do that, again, I played around with it. I used some of the practice cards on the inside until I got it right. I think the first time I did it, it was a little bit too much over to the right and more over to the left. So I had to do some adjustments. But again, use the cards that comes inside or get some practice paper and do your practice, punches before jumping into doing the punches. Now, one of the things that I will say that with the punches, it's not really hard to do. As you can see, you just take it and you put it under here. Right now, I need it at the 1 inch. It is at the 1 inch. I know I need to have 5 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is pushed in. My 6 through 12 is pulled out. So I put that under here. I'm going to use this as a guide to make sure that it's completely over to that, right? And then I'm just going to pull it down. That's all for the cinch, and it gives me the exact holes that I need, exactly where I am. They are evenly distributed, and I love that, right? So we are now so I would say you would have to go through and do all of those. Now, one of the things I want to point out with once you're punching your holes, if you start this way, I would turn them this way so that when you go to your next step, you're going to do them the exact same way. You go in, you punch your cards, take them out, and turn them over. Because if you have some this way and some the other way, it is not going to lay down the way that it's supposed to lay down. So I wanted to point that out with you. Make sure that you put them in order. With these, it would, they are alphabet cards, so they need to be in order. So if you punch one way, flip them over, and then punch again, and then flip it over and grab them back again the same way. That way, it does not get too far off, right? So say we've already punched in all of our holes for the sake of, we've already punched in all of our holes. Now, it's time to piece this together, y'all. Wait, we did not do the covers. Thank you. So let's go back and do the covers to this, right? So I know that I went to 1.5, which is about here. And then I moved over just 1, right? So there I am. I need to do this for the outside covers. One thing I need to bring to your attention is once you're doing the outside covers, you need 1 to be up and 1 to be down. In other words, I have 1 up, 1 down, black up, black down. In order to do that, because that was one of the things, it wasn't going together for me and I didn't understand what I did wrong, and what was wrong with it is because of the way that I had the holes in that. So I'm going to go in here just to put the holes in the front and the back. Again, 1 up, 1 down. Keep that in mind, and I'm going to punch my holes in it, and it should line up perfectly with the remainder. So now that is correct. Everything is together. I am super excited at that. So we know that we have 5 holes, right? We have 5 holes. These little these wires are binding wires is what it's called, and you will need some wire cutters. So we need 5 holes. Some people can just put it on here like this and just let it hang and have all the excess and cut it off later. Me, that's just doing a lot. So whatever works, whatever's easiest for you, let me say it that way, whatever works best for you. So I'm going to count 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I know that I need to cut off the 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My hand is here. I'm going to disconnect right here just so that there we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have my 5. Always keep your extra wires. You will need them. Again, considering I had to do 12 of these because I have 2 grandsons, and what I do for one, I try to do for both. Let me say that. So one of the other things that I had learned the hard way, and I just put one together not long ago, the exact same way, is when you're doing this, you have to keep in mind 1 needs to be up and 1 needs to be down, right? That's even when you're putting it together like this. So when you flip it over, it's going to be like that. That's what I did wrong. So I need my down piece first so that when I flip it over and open it, and I'll show you that in just a second, and then I'm going to put this piece up. So I always make sure that it's right before I cinch. And I'm going to show you how I do that, and if it's hard for you to do that. So I'm just putting it together like a sandwich, right? So I'm putting it together. I always put my thumb in this area here, and I want to flip it over just to see if this is going to be right. Yes, it is. So I don't have 2 black pieces, you know, out on the outside. So that kind of lets me know that I'm kind of right, you know, everything is kind of good. So as you can see, y'all, this is coming together beautifully. I love it. So now it's time for us to cinch this together. That means bind it all together, make it all stick together. I like to hold it in place at the bottom. Why? Because these two coils here have to touch the back side of this cinch machine back here. So in order to do that, for me to push that, I have better control if I hold it together right here. So I don't, and I wanted to point something out here. You have to be careful and make sure that you're using the right wire. So I do have a 5/8 wire. So I make sure that it's turned to the 5/8. And in order to do that, you just push it down and just turn it to whichever one that you're using. Make sure that you know which wire that you're using so that it can be cinched correctly, okay? So now I'm going to put this to the back side of this, and I'm gonna just push down as if I was putting holes in it. And there we are. It is together, one cinch. I didn't have to do anything else to it. So now let's see if I got it right. We can turn it inside the right way. There we are. So I'm super, super excited. And one of the things I like about this is it is double-sided, you know, but I don't have a front side or a back side per se because they both are, you know, wood grain. So with this, it could be in either direction here. So it is vowel sound, short vowel, different things like that. What I love about it is they're going to have fun when they see it. They look at the pictures and they have fun. Y'all, there's so many different things that you can do with your cinch machine. I am super, super excited. As you can see, I have made several of these. And again, I think I'm gonna go back and decorate the outside of this. So I hope that everyone have fun making these, being creative. And if you have children, or in my case, grandchildren, they will love these. I mean, really love these. I have some cards that are dry erase, and I'm going to make them a little bit bigger and get them some dry erase pens so that they can, you know, learn to write and do all of this creative stuff. Keep in mind, they are only 3. But I enjoy teaching them. So I hope that y'all are having an amazing time here at the filling station. If you could, please like, share, comment, subscribe, y'all. We learn and we grow together. I say that often. Until next time, be blessed as well as a blessing unto others.